How to find clothing manufacturers in USA. The video here is all about how to find clothing manufacturers. Nowadays it's very common to everyone that fashion is difficult to break into for those who are beginners. Now, if you are a beginner and searching to find some clothing manufacturers, this video will be really helpful for you by giving ideas about how to find clothing manufacturers. This video is sponsored by Beautiful Connection Group. They have a clothing factory in New York, USA. They are a professional wholesale clothing manufacturing company specialized in custom women's apparels like coats, jackets, tops and dresses. Then what is the best to start from? First of all, you would have to find out what clothing you want to sell, and at the same time you must choose a particular base of customers. You cannot skip this phase because you will get to find out the products that you should sell when you will only categorize your base customers as well. Once you are done with this specification, it will be easier for you to categorize what you want to sell to your targeted consumers. Being a new entrepreneur who is willing to launch a clothing line with custom products, you must need your own designs. It will bring your uniqueness out there in the market. So, to turn your own unique designs into your desired products, you will need clothing manufacturers. Now, we will cover everything in this video about how to find clothing manufacturers. First of all, you have to ask yourself before starting whether you really want to work with clothing manufacturers or not. Because, there is risk in it. There are possibilities of getting recompense for sure, but at the same time you may have to face some difficulties to make profit according to your financial state and your time. Now let's have a look at the pros of working with clothing manufacturers. 1. Get the privilege to produce the unique designs of yours by working with a clothing manufacturer. 2. Make your own brand image by working with a clothing manufacturer. 3. Get more opportunities to do the marketing. Now let's have a look on the cons as well. 1. Purchase products in a bulk every time. 2. Take your own risk by yourself. 3. You need to make investments beforehand. You have to keep it in mind that since you have to purchase a bulk of products, you will need a proper inventory to store and manage it all yourself. It works fine in usual, but if you are starting with a minimal budget, it can be a bit risky sometimes. In that case, if you get nice feedbacks from your customers, it will no longer make a difference and will not cause you any risk. Choosing a clothing manufacturer. When you are determined to work with a clothing supplier in the market, you have to be sure whether you want to work with domestic manufacturers in the country you reside in. Your goods from producers abroad, as China or India, would be the alternative. We are primarily referring to clothing producers in the USA or Europe when we talk about domestic manufacturers. We offer to countries such as China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan when we refer to overseas firms. Let's break down some of the benefits and drawbacks of working with domestic and foreign clothing suppliers. Domestic clothing manufacturers. Nowadays, buyers are very conscious about the quality products which they are buying. In terms of domestic clothing manufacturers, you will get higher quality products with regulated labor standards. If you are determined to pay extra fees with domestic clothing manufacturers, you'll emphasize the fact that you are working with local trades. It will strengthen your brand image. Moreover, the shipping time will be faster with domestic clothing manufacturers. But here the only drawback is that you will get a smaller range of products to choose compared to manufacturers from overseas. Overseas clothing manufacturers. There are many options for overseas clothing manufacturers that can make products for your business at a lower price than domestic manufacturers. The mostly known overseas manufacturers are China, India, Taiwan, and some other Asian countries. Manufacturers from China have been most popular for their varieties of clothing and dropshipping facilities for all kinds of clothing. One important fact that you should note: the product quality of overseas manufacturers, which may not be as great as of the domestic manufacturers. Moreover, the working condition of these companies can be unregulated. Again, a big drawback for these manufacturers is longer shipping time and higher shipping costs than domestic manufacturers. Let's find clothing manufacturers for your business. Till now we have shown you some advantages and disadvantages of domestic and overseas clothing manufacturers. But now you will get information about how to find the perfect clothing manufacturer for your business. 1. Industry meetups. Instead of industry meetups, You can attend local events and trade shows to make connections with clothing manufacturers. 2. Directories. Online clothing directories may help you by providing the information of clothing manufacturers. When you find a clothing manufacturer, try to contact them by explaining what you are actually looking for. 3. Search engines. Search engines are a great source while trying to find your clothing manufacturers like Google. 4. Old-fashioned research. You can expand your network with people in the industry and can take advice regarding how to find clothing manufacturers. Choosing the right clothing manufacturer. From the resources given above, you may have got some clothing manufacturers for your business. Now you have to refine the list based on the followings: price and quality. Choose the clothing manufacturers that can provide the best quality according to your price point. Shipping times. Choose clothing manufacturers that provide fastest shipping time. Experience. Choose manufacturers that have good reviews from other clothing shop owners. Follow the link in the description below to know more in detail. Please subscribe our channel to get more professional tips following custom clothing manufacturing.